Good evening, folks, and welcome to a special live tonight. We have Mary from Friends of the Old High Church here to discuss the future of the Old High Church and their campaign to save it. Evening, Mary.
Good evening, how are you?
Not bad, not bad. Yourself?
Hashed, but fine.
Ash, but fine. Good, good, good. So hopefully Jean will be joining us as well. She might be having some technology issues just now. But to get things started off, I mean, I suppose we've posted a lot on our page over the years about the Old High Church because it is a
Mm-hmm.
very important building, um, a very historic building, um, and I suppose the first thing to ask is how did the group come about?
The group, obviously, Jean's probably better placed to answer this one because she's been part of the group for longer. But as far as I'm aware, it was a group of volunteers from the congregation of the church and just people who had a general interest in the building and the history of the building and the history of Inverness. They were volunteers that would show visitors and tourists around the church inside and give them leaflets and tell them about the various artifacts and whatever that were inside the building, and obviously some of the history of outside of the building as well. And they formed quite a few years ago now, I believe. They're still obviously with the church now being up for sale and being closed, their function or their purpose has changed to more of a let's save the building group now. So we've had to drop the Friends of the Old High Church to just Friends of the Old High. With it being deconsecrated, we can't refer to it as a church anymore, like a former church building, but no longer a church, sadly.
Yeah, I was lucky enough to actually get on one of those tours when it was open. I just
Mm,
happened to be in the right place at the right time, and it
yeah,
really was fascinating. And the folk were really knowledgeable of the building,
extremely.
and yeah, it's beautiful inside and out. I mean, it's stunning inside, and as you said, some of the artifacts that are there are precious artifacts. So,
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, we'll talk a wee bit maybe about the history and the importance of the building. So, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I do a bit of my walks about it. So, I think, the site dates back to 565 AD.
Yes, it
Um,
does. Yeah.
yeah, and when St Columba was there and converting the Picts to Christianity and banishing the Loch Ness monster um,
Yes.
to the loch.
Yep.
Um,
Yep.
so it really is. I suppose it's the you could say that site is the beating heart of Inverness. Certainly for centuries it would have been, um,
It's
and certainly
it forms one of the 2 points, really, doesn't it? The oldest street in Inverness is Church Street or Kirk Street, from the castle, the site of the castle, right the way down to that church, which was at one point the only church in Inverness. And it's had lots of different guises over the centuries, but it literally does have a story for every century, that building. It's such an important and integral part of the history of Inverness City. So we need to save this place. Quite simple.
yeah. And the tower itself, I was reading, dates back to they reckon around the 1300s at least. So it is. I mean, it's probably had work. It's obviously had work done to it since.
Well,
Uh,
just a bit, yeah.
yeah, clearly. But the
Yeah.
actual tower, it dates back to around the 1300s. So it's by far the
Mm-hmm.
oldest structure in Inverness.
Yes.
I think
Yeah.
it outdates Abertarf House by about probably around 200 years.
Yeah, probably.
So, as you say, a very, very important site. Um, and then obviously moving forward in time, you had the aftermath of Culloden, the
Yeah.
Jacobite prisoners that were imprisoned there, and those that were executed in the graveyard.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so again, it's had such an impact over the years in history, um, and that's one of the reasons why we've got to save it, really, isn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, it is the highest graded or highest grading of list you can get as far as listed buildings in Scotland go. I mean, even the pews inside are a degree of listing. The organ, etc., is believed to be listed as well. A Willis organ. Um, you're right in what you say. The building, the tower goes back to, I think, the 13th, 14th century there around. There's some debate over that. Um, I mean, the before and aftermath of Culloden. Prior to Culloden, the town was run by Jacobites, and it was government prisoners that were held there in the tower, and then the building that was there before Leakey's, if you like. And then afterwards, the roles were reversed, and the Jacobite prisoners were held, it's believed, in the base of the tower again, and in the building that was formerly, or there before Leakey's is now. And as you say, they were executed, the ones that were supposedly fit to stand. They were all blindfolded. They were taken to the rear of the tower, the base of the tower, and shot there. And as you point out on your walks, you can still see the musket ball holes that from the ones that went astray. The ones that were not fit to stand were, again, it's believed, blindfolded. And there are 2 stones which you can see again on your walks, and on there's a notice board, an information board in the ground of the Old High. The execution stones, as they've become known now, the grooved one is where the government soldier would have placed their musket, and the other one, which has kind of got a double dip in it, is where the Jacobite prisoner was blindfolded, knelt, and executed, all in the line of Balnain House, where the government troops were hospitalised and encouraged to cheer, apparently.
Yeah.
Lovely people.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously a tragic time in the history of Inverness.
Yes, yeah.
And the church was really at the centre of that.
Yeah.
I've got church. I know that there is church records of the time,
Mm-hmm.
as well. That tell that story. And it's always had that importance in Inverness. And I mean, I'll apologise now because I can't remember what the ceremony's called, but there was before lockdown, there was a yearly ceremony from the Old High as well.
Yeah, the kirking of the council.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Where they had all their big processional march down from the townhouse to there. And again, there was lots of military services held there as well. There's a close connection with the Highlanders at Fort George, the Camerons, the Seaforths, and the Queen's Own Highlanders over the years. And again, there were some artefacts inside the building, like a memorial area. I think that was formed in 2013 inside the church. Some of them, I believe, have gone back to Fort George, the Highlanders Museum, for safekeeping just now. But there's so much history. I mean, again, like it or hate it, it's a huge draw for Outlander fans, simply because of the history and ties it has with Culloden. And Culloden, as we know, Liam, the Battle of Culloden still has ramifications to this day. It was the last battle fought on British soil. And it still has, there was a housing developer in Culloden itself, I think, or Smithton area. They wanted to name one of their streets Duke of Cumberland Way, and there was an outcry. You don't do that in Inverness. If you want, no. You can do it in Edinburgh, but not up here. So it still has ramifications to this day. So yeah, it's a very important and, as I said, integral part of Inverness history.
Yeah, and you guys want to do with the building. Yeah. And I think the Outlander effect, what blows me away is that I very rarely go into that graveyard and it's empty.
Yes,
and especially through the summer months, it can be extremely busy with tourists. It is a site that a lot of people come to visit. So obviously keeping that connection going, and the Outlander effect, love it or hate it, is good business for the Highlands and beyond.
Absolutely.
And, I'm pretty sure it rivals even Nessie these days.
Oh, more than likely. I mean, if you think back, the film Highlander with Christopher Lambert in it, that still has a tourism effect on the Eilean Castle. And Diana Gabaldon, the author of Outlander, has received an award from Visit Scotland for the increase in footfall and tourism in all the filming locations, and in Inverness as well, where the book was originally set, obviously. So yeah, it's had a huge impact. And yes, the likes of the Culloden battlefield with the Fraser gravestone, it is a double-edged sword or claymore or whatever, but it has good and bad effects. Mainly good, I think, for local businesses, for tourism. And again, I'm part of, I hope there's some people here watching from the Outlander North Carolina page. Let Liam know if you are. A fantastic group of people that I'm lucky enough to be part of. I joined their page a good few years ago now by chance, and have met quite a few of them. If they visited over here, I've shown them around Culloden, Clavacairns, the Old High churchyard as well. And back in May, we had a group of the admins over with their partners, about 16 of them in total, I think. And Beth Pittman, the founding member of Outlander, North Carolina, they have an event every October called Homecoming at Fraser's Ridge in North Carolina. And they always have a chosen charity. And this year, very kindly, it blew me away. After I'd given my spiel in the cemetery, they decided that the Old High was going to be their charity for this year. So they've been amazing, and they continue to be amazing in their support of the Old High and friends of the Old High. And what they're doing for us is just, considering we're not even in the same country as them, but they have the strong passion of the Scottish connection, their ancestry, and of course Outlander and the Scottish history as well. So it's they're amazing. Hi guys, if you're watching.
Yeah, I mean that's wonderful, isn't it? I mean that's that's kind of what you need, isn't it? It's
absolutely
is that support. Now, obviously, as I said, I've pasted a link already with regard to a link to the crowdfunding page.
Thank you.
If anybody wants to donate tonight or whenever they watch this video, it will be on Facebook and YouTube till the end of time. So tell us a bit then about what you guys want to do once you've bought the building.
Okay, well, once we've bought the building, let's be optimistic here. When we buy it, because I mentioned earlier, it's kind of the highest graded listing of building you can get. So there's very little that can be changed. But we want to, as much as possible, preserve and conserve what we have. It can't be used as a church again. It's been deconsecrated. But there is room inside of there, that the main body of the kirk, if you like, the pews, the organ, the choir stalls, that's envisaged as being a sort of intimate concert area, folk music, maybe classical recitals, storytelling, that kind of thing maybe. We'd also like to get in there a small sanctuary space, a quiet space, a safe place, as well as possibly a sort of coffee shop, gift shop type place, exhibition space for local artisans to display their works on, maybe a gallery in the upstairs area. Also meeting space for local groups to use. As much as possible, keep it as is. There's obviously modifications need to be made, but to conserve the history, but have it going forward as a place that the people of Inverness and visitors can use alike. And also there will be tours, obviously. They'll still be ongoing, but then rather than voluntary, there might be a wee charge for them going forward. But we have to maintain it and have funds to upkeep as well.
I mean, that sounds wonderful. And we have seen elsewhere in the Highlands, churches get a new lease of life as heritage centres.
Yes.
There's quite a few dotted through the north. And I've visited quite a few, and they're fascinating and amazing places run by volunteers normally. And yeah, there's a small charge to get in, but you know, they are fascinating places. They tell the history, they protect the building. I've seen the other side of the coin where I've gone to locations where churches have been closed, they've not been looked after, and they're basically falling down.
Yeah, we just can't let this happen to this one. I mean, we know there's a lot of work to be done, and we know that you know, the likes of National Heritage Lottery Fund, and there are so many organisations and people that are fully behind this, and they want to support our campaign, they want to support our vision. But we have to buy the church before any of that is forthcoming, which is the tricky part. We're getting there slowly but surely, but nowhere near enough. So any donations, whether it be £1, 5, 10, if you've won the lottery, please help us. You know, that anything is more than welcome. Yeah,
and I think the other thing as well is if there's any of you know any of Inverness's more financially well-off people, give them a wee tap on the shoulder, will you? This is their chance to do a little bit for the city and
absolutely
give a little back. Because we've seen campaigns elsewhere that have been pretty successful. Boleskine House, for instance, is an ongoing campaign, and they've managed to raise quite substantial funds to rebuild from basically scratch a building, and you've got nowhere near that challenge.
No, I think there are all kinds of, to coin a phrase, fake news going around. I mean, I can't remember where the rumour started. Oh, it's going to cost at least £2 million to get the roof done. There's never been a survey done of the roof, to our knowledge, and I'm no expert, but it doesn't look like it's falling down. But it will undoubtedly cost a lot of money. But we have the organisations and companies and whatever, they're willing to help us with that when we buy it. But it's the initial fundraising to buy the building that we're really needing help with, please.
Yeah. So I said I have posted a link, and I know Highland Paranormal will be having a wee think on what we can do to try and raise some funds for you guys.
Thank you so much.
As well, and see what we can do. We'll continue, obviously, to campaign on your behalf as well. I mean, when I do my ghost walks, that's where I start and that's where I finish. For the group, it's a special place because it's the graveyard was the first place we visited as a group.
Oh wow! Okay.
Yeah, so many years ago now, but and it is, as I said, I always say to people, this is the most important building in Inverness. Forget the castle, forget the townhouse, Abertarf House. This really is the most historic building. It's seen more than any other building.
If walls could talk, Liam, that place would never stop, basically.
Yeah. And I think it's also important, as you said there just now, is that there is funds waiting. You will get funds to support the building, because I have heard people saying, well, there is no point in buying it because it's just going to cost so much to do the work that's required. And as you said, it's Chinese whispers. And I think it's the same with everything. It's the same with I'd heard various rumors about what it could be turned into a pub or that kind of thing, and that was never going to be viable with it being a listed building, with it sitting in a graveyard as well. It was just never going to be the case. So in reality, you guys are at the moment the only way forward.
We're the only way forward, I think, that's going to keep it as much as possible as it is. I mean, the cemetery itself is not up for sale. It's just the footprint of the building. The cemetery is still owned and maintained by the council. So anything and we know again that the council back our vision. We know that, they've told us that. So I don't think anything else can or would get permission to do anything because of the access that would be needed from the council, and also because of the grade of listing it is. They can't change it too much. It's not like Slains Castle Church in Aberdeen, for example, that was ripped apart and turned into a nightclub. You can't do that. You just can't do that with this place. And to keep the building as is, as much as possible, and maintain it and have the upkeep of it as well. It will cost a lot of money, but there are ways of getting around that. We could potentially, start doing the tours first, because they don't need to change it too much to do the tours internally. So there are ways and means of starting to get a trickle of money coming in once we buy it, and then build on that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I really hope that the money can be raised soon. Thank you for your time tonight. And
thank you. I did get a message from Jean saying sorry, she was having difficulty joining, I think. Yeah.
I've actually just got some. I'll just put this up. You can have a read of it. Harry's saying one idea that might be relevant is making the Old High the destination for the Columba Trail from Iona.
Yes, absolutely. I think also I suggest the Gaelic dimension. Yes, there will be, again, going forward, Gaelic concerts was one of the things we're thinking about in the main body of the building. The Iona Trail or the Columba Trail, I think, has been mentioned. If Jean was here, she would say.
I'm sure I read it somewhere in connection with today. So I'm pretty sure that it has been mentioned as one of the things that they would look to establish.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, why not? Because again, it's believed or it's recorded he was there in 565 AD, and as you say, not only did he convert the King Brood and his Picts to Christianity, he also was the first recorded sighting of Nessie. So you've got a double whammy there. But yeah, it would be good to have a St Columba link this far north, and build on that as well.
Yeah, no, definitely. And as I said, I hope that things can work out. If anybody has got any ideas or suggestions, you can obviously contact the friends via Facebook, um, or you can even contact ourselves and we'll pass the message on. As I said, hopefully we'll look at trying to do something soon ourselves. We know the challenges of being non-profit and trying to raise money, so it is a challenge, but we're all about supporting local causes. So we'll see what we can do. But as I said, Mary, thanks for coming on.
No,
wish
thank you.
wish you all the best with it, and keep us in the loop, and we will
Definitely.
sure to keep everybody updated. Thanks to everybody who joined tonight, and we'll see you all soon. Okay.
Thank you. Bye now. Bye.
Bye.